Cops identify gunman shot in taxi on Maxfield Avenue.
The man, who was shot after he reportedly pulled a gun on a team of officers along Maxfield Avenue, Kingston, has been identified and charged. He is Giovanni Lee, a 21-year-old Kingston 11 resident who has been charged with robbery with aggravation, seizure of prohibited weapon, and prohibited ammunition. Police sources said he is also under investigation for a number of rapes and other serious crimes in the corporate area. Reports are that at about 8:50 p.m. on Wednesday, a team of officers was conducting an operation along Maxfield Avenue when they signaled the driver of a Toyota Probox to stop. The vehicle was operated as a taxi. The police report that as soon as the driver stopped, a man posing as a passenger jumped from the vehicle and pulled a firearm. Officers said they took evasive action and the man was shot. One firearm was reportedly seized. The injured man was taken to hospital where he has been admitted under police guard. The Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM, has been informed about the incident. No member of the police team suffered any injury.
Welcome to Grung TV, the entertainment hub for news, views, reviews, and gossip. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and turn on your notification bell.
Armed robbery attempt thwarted as beryllium team evades gunman.
A day after Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson spoke about engaging security firms that offer armored courier services to examine the adjustments that would make them less vulnerable to attacks, another such attack occurred. In what could be described as a brazen attempt to rob a beryllium limited-owned vehicle in St. Elizabeth on Wednesday, attackers opened fire at the vehicle and its occupants about 1 p.m. after an attempt to block the road. The team escaped unharmed with the contents of the vehicle. The vehicle, however, sustained minor damage. Yesterday's attack comes on the heels of two others involving the same security company. In those gun attacks, however, members of the security teams were wounded, one fatally, and the criminals made off with a combined $33 million. In the first incident in February, gunmen attacked the security team that was out to service the automated teller machine, ATM, at JN Bank at Portmore Pines Plaza in St. Catherine. One beryllium team member was killed. 3 weeks later, and just meters away from the first incident, in the vicinity of Scotiabank, gunmen again struck as security officers were depositing funds. A member of the team was wounded. The police reported Tuesday that 24-year-old Shamar Yee of Fairview Park, Spanish Town, St. Catherine, was charged in connection with the gun robbery in March. He has been slapped with 12 charges. Speaking at a press conference on Tuesday, Anderson warned criminals on a path to cause mayhem that they will be met by the security forces at each turn. Already, he said, the police have been moving against the economic base of many of the criminal organizations, which are now cash-strapped and have taken to burglary business involving ATMs as seen in rural parishes, business people handling and transporting high amounts of cash, and armored courier services as their targets. He said this might be one of the direct causes of the attacks on beryllium vehicles. Anderson said that the discussion between the police and security firms to tighten the operation of armored courier services has been useful. Several standard operating procedures were explored. We are committed to working with both the security sector and the Jamaica Bankers Association to strengthen their security operation, the police commissioner said.
Child molester, a Jamaican, convicted of lying to get U.S. citizenship.
A Jamaican man was last month convicted in the U.S. of naturalization fraud. He is 48-year-old Gregory Maxwell Palmer, a recent release from the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement said. It also said he is a convicted child molester. Palmer was convicted in March by a federal jury in Charlotte, North Carolina in a trial that lasted 2 days. According to filed documents, evidence presented at trial and witness testimony, while Palmer was residing in Gastonia in 2008, he sexually abused a minor. Palmer later obtained his U.S. citizenship fraudulently by providing materially false information on his citizenship application. The release said trial evidence established that during the naturalization process, Palmer lied about his criminal history and failed to admit that prior to applying for citizenship, he had knowingly committed sexual acts with a child. According to court records, on June 6, 2013, in the Gaston County Superior Court, Palmer pleaded guilty to attempted statutory rape and was ordered to serve between 157 and 198 months in prison. Palmer admitted to having committed the crime on June 17, 2008, by taking advantage of a position of trust with a minor victim. Palmer was not arrested for the crime until after he became a naturalized citizen. Court documents show that while Palmer was going through the naturalization process, immigration officials were not aware of his criminal actions. Palmer's attempts to exploit our nation's immigration system have been discovered, and now he faces the consequences of his actions, said Enforcement and Removal Operations, ERO, Atlanta Field Office Director Sean Irvin. ERO and its law enforcement partners will continue to target those who seek to violate the sanctity of the U.S. immigration system. Palmer used lies and deceit to cheat his way into an American citizenship, said U.S. Attorney Dina J. King. The guilty verdict holds Palmer accountable for his actions and sends a warning message to those who attempt to compromise the integrity of our naturalization process and violate our country's immigration laws. You will not go unpunished. Palmer is currently serving a state prison sentence, the release said. The maximum penalty for unlawful procurement of citizenship is 10 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. A sentencing date has not been set.
NIDS card pilot phase now open to 300 Jamaican participants, green.
The government is moving a step closer to its island-wide roll-out of the National Identification System, NIDS, with its National Identification Card pilot phase now being accessible for 300 Jamaicans to participate. The announcement was made by Minister without portfolio in the Office of the Prime Minister with responsibility for NIDS, Floyd Green, on Twitter on Wednesday. "We embarking on a new phase of our national identification pilot. We are seeking 300 Jamaicans or those ordinarily residents to participate," Green tweeted. He said persons can do so by visiting NIDS.com pilot/ to secure their appointments. Link will be removed once we reach the quota, Green stated, adding that persons can also follow the NIDS Facts Twitter page for consistent updates. Many Jamaicans on Twitter have responded positively to the minister's call by securing their appointments. "Done. Ready to be one of the guinea pigs. LOL," tweeted human rights advocate and newspaper columnist, Jivian Nelson, with a bit of comic relief. "Done. My dates are set. I am ready," said another Twitter user. NIDS, an electronic form of identification, is geared at providing a comprehensive and secure database for capturing and storing the personal information of citizens and non-nationals ordinarily residing in Jamaica. The system is to establish a reliable database of all Jamaican citizens, and will involve the issuance of a unique, lifelong national identification number (NN) to every person. Last December, the government officially launched the NIDS technical pilot at Jamaica Post, Central Sorting Office, in Kingston. The Card Personalization Center, situated at that location, was also opened. Prime Minister Andrew Holness said at the time that NIDS will be rolled out in various phases, with the technical pilot implementation being the first, after which we will commence a national rollout all across Jamaica. In outlining some of the benefits of NIDS, Holness said it will be crucial in boosting the growth of e-government and increasing the effectiveness and quality of trusted public services. The system will further help the private
Jamaican jailed after knowingly infecting woman with HIV in UK.
A Jamaican man who knowingly infected a woman with HIV has been jailed in the UK. Jermaine Scott appeared at Chester Crown Court on Tuesday where he was sentenced to 3 years in prison. The 39-year-old had previously pleaded guilty to grievous bodily harm. The Cheshire Constabulary said Scott was diagnosed with HIV in 2005 and had been prescribed medication to minimize the risk of transmission to others. He and the victim had previously been in a relationship and rekindled their relationship in the summer of 2009. When the relationship restarted, Scott was not taking his tablets regularly, meaning that there was a higher risk of transmission. He also failed to inform the victim of his diagnosis and went on to have unprotected sex with the woman, the police said. The victim became suspicious of his behavior, and in October 2009, the pair attended a sexual health clinic. While at the clinic, Scott provided a false name and false medical details to the health worker, the Cheshire Constabulary said. The victim subsequently tested positive for HIV and the pair ended their relationship. Following their split, Scott left the Cheshire area. The incident was reported to Cheshire Constabulary in October 2009 and an investigation was launched to locate Scott. Following a public appeal, he was located and arrested in February 2011. According to the police, Scott refused to answer any questions put to him by officers and despite a detailed investigation, officers were unable to gather sufficient evidence to charge him in relation to the incident and the case was closed. He was subsequently deported from the UK to Jamaica in November 2011 after it was found that he was in the UK illegally. Shortly after his deportation, the victim asked the case to be reopened and detectives subsequently sought help from a number of medical experts who revealed that it was highly likely that the victim had been infected with HIV in the 3 months before her diagnosis, while she was in a relationship with Scott. Cheshire Constabulary said they also identified a number of genetic links between the strain of HIV that the victim had been diagnosed with and that of the offender. In 2019, the additional evidence was presented to the CPS, who agreed to charge Scott with grievous bodily harm, Section 20 assault, in February 2020. An extradition warrant was issued, and he was returned to the UK in November 2022 to be charged in connection with the incident. Following the sentencing, Detective Sergeant Emma Myers, who led the investigation, said, "It has taken more than 12 years to reach this point, and having supported the victim throughout the investigation I have seen firsthand the pain and suffering that she has endured, both physically and psychologically. She will now live the rest of her life forever marred by the actions of Scott. There is no cure and she will now have to take medication for the rest of her life. Scott's actions have also affected her relationships with others and she no longer trusts men. While no sentence will ever be enough, I do hope that the fact that Scott is now behind bars and has been held accountable will provide her with some closure," she said.